Hello, Sebastian here from Twin Peaks. I would like to give you a brief overview of our Sentinel platform. We have developed Sentinel over the last few months and also years as full automation. This means an add-on for NinjaTrader. This enables condition-based full automation of trading. This means that we have highly flexible options here to work with. We can integrate the footprint and also certain order flow events into our signal determination. This naturally enables us to work very flexibly here. Our trade management is fully integrated here. We will take a look at exactly how this works in further videos. The development takes place in Switzerland and Germany. How is Sentinel structured? As mentioned, Sentinel is based on conditions, but not just on one. We can link any number of conditions together. This means that if all conditions are fulfilled, then an action is executed. Example conditions here are the bar direction. So I have a bullish or a bearish candle. How big is my candle? Both the body and the TIG can be defined here in minimum and maximum sizes. I can define my delta, the position of my POC, the delta of my POC. I can say whether I want to trade inside bars, the duration or the volume of the bars. I can also specify relations between two bars, i.e., whether one has a larger volume than the other. For example, I can also define finished auctions and unfinished auctions here. For up to 2 bars in a row, I can also filter when I do not want to have a signal, for example, i.e., near a volume level such as the daily POC, as an example, or near the value area, high or low. I can also include the VBUAP or various moving averages, i.e. EMA, SMA, TMA, various things. I can also use swing levels, which I can display as a filter and also as a signal generator and much, much more. We have well over 100 possible conditions that we can use. If all the conditions are met, then a signal is generated. This means it is checked separately for long and short, also separately configurable, whether all conditions, as I have entered them, are fulfilled. For example, I have the condition bullish bar with a minimum body size of 20 ticks and, yes, a positive VPOC delta. If this is fulfilled, then my signal is generated. I can freely define the position, i.e. the classic ORLC data. I can also define the YPOC here as the position of the signal, but more on this later in detail. The signal itself is initially only half the battle. Of course, I can also set stops. Yes, and here I also have various options, not only to set a fixed stop, but also, for example, at the end of the candle, or at the end of the body of the candle, or at a dynamic high or low. This can be set very flexibly. Of course, I can also set myself targets up to 3 different, and these are not just fixed, but here too I have various setting options in order to look for meaningful targets. For example, a rejection of a previous bar, a volume level, a swing level. So I am very flexible here. I can also set my trailing if I am in a position. Then Sentinel can automatically adjust my stop and manage the position for me. This happens fully automatically and can be configured here. If I have set everything up, so I have defined my signal, my targets, my stop, and my trailing, then ideally a position, including our targets and the stops that I have configured, is created. This means that once this signal has been created, Sentinel can automatically create a position here in various ways. I can also define the trading session 2001, so I can, for example, say I only want to trade between 16 and 20 o'clock. The time always refers to the chart time, which I have set. I can also filter news, which means that a news function is integrated in Sentinel, in which I can display when there is news on this day and can define that I do not want to trade before or after this news. This simplifies a lot of things, especially when there is crucial economic news. Here, the order types I have just mentioned, which I trigger when the signal has been correctly recognized. I naturally have a market order, which is an option. However, I can also set stop orders and thus stop myself above or below the price. I can also use something similar to limit orders. The whole thing is executed as with market, if touch. So I can also go long below the current price in order to be picked up there. For example, I can also integrate my own indicators from NinjaTrader here as a signal provider. This works via our satellite module, more on this later. This allows me, for example, to integrate indicators that are available in NinjaTrader and that I already use in my daily trading, here as a signal provider. The whole thing makes Sentinel a highly complex and highly flexible platform for trade automation, also for supplementary trading, i.e., if I want to trade manually but want to have the signals displayed, I can use Sentinel and open and close the position myself, but still have Sentinel show me where the sensible entry points are, where the targets are, and where a stop point would also be. I will now show you what this looks like in practice directly on Sentinel. In this video, we look at an example configuration at A and how Sentinel can also work very well in faster markets. I have opened an ER tick shot in the NASDAQ. We are here shortly after 15 o'clock, shortly after market open, and we want to create a configuration now. To do that, let's first go into our conditions here. For short, means we would like to have a bearish bar, nothing more, really only be bearish. But I would like to use my intra-bar mode, means I don't need an external signal, no 2-bar mode. Our position should always be the low of the bar for 1 bar. That's all I'm interested in. Just a short approach. I don't want to filter anything for now either. But intra-bar mode, I want that. So negative bar. Then I simply want the close of the bar, i.e. bar close, to be handled again accordingly with an offset. So that means we move up here and I would like to move up another 5 ticks. And if I trade 5 ticks up again, then I would like to enter at the low of the bar. We have that here with our signal position at low. For long must be the other way around. So here too we now have a direction, is now bullish here, 2001. And otherwise, we simply want to have the intro bar mode here. Here again the bar lows. And then we now have to set it to -5 because we want to get another 5 ticks lower to then place our order up here. So we set the whole thing. Otherwise, I would like to set my trading session, and I would like to trade from 15:45 o'clock. Before that, I am not interested. Then in my trade management, I would like to set my stop dynamically, i.e. above the last high to below the last low. And as a target, I would like to set a fixed target here. From 1001, from 15 in the third, we take here on advanced. And here we take about the next key level, or the next wayfinder level. If the is not reached at all, then a fixed target is assumed here of 60 ticks. Otherwise, I would like to break even after my first TP hit in profit. That would be a bit too tight for me at 10 ticks, so I say here, bar close, first TP hit in profit with an offset of 1 to then not only get to the entry price, but really then to another tick more. I'd also like to trade. I'd like to trade here. After ticks and profit, I'd like to trade. And I say here, really in Skype mode. So I'd like to trade very quickly. And I'd like to start trading after 15 ticks with a distance of 15 ticks. That's what happens here. I can also set the trail filter so that I only trail with a finished auction, with a delta POC and so on. I leave everything out for now, and I also leave everything out for now. I've now finished my configuration. Say OK here, and then I click on play here. 1506, and there we have it. I'll slow it down a bit. As soon as we're at 1545, so to speak, because nothing happens here before, activate the bot so that we can get an execution at all. And then we'll take a look at what's about to happen here and how the orders are managed accordingly. That's what we're interested in right now. So let's jump ahead to 15 to 45, and then I'll go down in speed to real time, and then we'll just have a look at how the whole thing is handled. From now on, he can trade. And now let's see what happens. we see that it has closed here directly, has gone up again. Stop is accordingly up here. And here is my rig finder level, i.e. here is my target. First target has reached, and now it is only pulling up my stop when this bar has closed. Now, he is already trailing along here, and you can see the trail running along here. Very nicely seen how he really manages this automatically. When the bar closes now, we get our next signal, I guess 2001. Yes, we have already tested this again, is in here accordingly. Now we also see an anomaly here, which is relatively clear because here we have the weak finder level, has virtually placed the third target in front of the first, picks it up here, nice wow, and has now handled everything correctly here. Continue running. Here again, everything done. Rebound from VBWAP. Target, target. Now we are trailing here accordingly with, and are now trailing everything here. And you can see that this works very well even in relatively fast markets. Sentinel is very precise in this respect, and also works very precisely with all these things. So also in the replay, wonderful. No problem at all. And as you can see, it works like clockwork here. So again, great. This is an example situation that worked very well. This is not a strategy that is recommended for imitation. But basically, you can see that something good is coming out of it. If it closes positively here, then 2,000 in, the order goes out and the next one goes in. That's exactly the attitude that we only ever want to be active for one bar. And so we can now also intervene in the strategy here. We could now say here, okay, we want to hit the first TP here. Then it should already be pulled to break even. We can look at what happens there. Then probably very, very many. Zach, and if he now takes this one, the first one out, then he would already pull to break even here, 2001. We briefly write the notes from. And depending on whether you reach that. Probably, he is now doing a bit. Zach. And now it trails this one too. You've seen, reaches the first one, dragged to project, and then trailed accordingly. So Sentinel really does everything very cleanly. With tick accuracy, even in the back test, everything is really tick accurate. We can check this very precisely. When what happened and how, and therefore the back test that you always see here is also very accurate. And of course, there will always be a few deviations due to slippage, especially in thin markets. But you can still work very, very well with it. If had now run here in the short time that has elapsed, 3 minutes, it is running effectively. We have now currently generated a plus here, 2001, so to speak, of 1,300, the unrealized. And here too, it is now running wonderfully according to, and these have just been these 60 ticks here, when there is nothing there. So you see that works quite well. Here, the whole thing works quite well again. And so you can also work very well with very rudimentary settings and work with it. It doesn't always have to be highly complex. As you have seen, there are hardly any settings here, but you can also work quite well with it, and especially in the scalping area. These are rather more exciting things to work on the basis. Exactly, that's it at this point. But I hope you've realized what Sentinel can do, what you can do with it, and how to work with it. I hope you enjoy the other videos on the other products too. And if you have any questions, just send an email to or use the contact form, and we will be happy to clarify them. Until then,